tonight on CTV3 News. Prime Minister John Briceño orders police commissioner on 45-day leave amid incomplete investigation into Joseph Budna's case. A cop is also placed on interdiction. Belmopan Court denies bail to 21-year-old Christy Guzman charged with manslaughter in Wilson Hernandez shooting. And the tragedy strikes Bella Vista Village as home invasion turns fatal and leaves woman in critical condition. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, September 8, 2025.
Celebrate Belize's 44th independence anniversary with us. Join us this September as Belize shines brighter than ever. Be part of the excitement and showcase your business to thousands of viewers during our live coverage of these spectacular events. September 19th, Children's Rally. September 13th, Carousel Carnival. September 20th, Flag Raising Ceremony. And September 21st, the Citizens Parade.
Everybody jump and wave. Show me 1,000 and just show me 1,000 and
Maximize your visibility. All events will be broadcast live on Channel 53 of Centaur Cable Network, available on the Express Plus app and streamed across our popular social media platforms, including CTV3 News, Fiesta FM Radio, and Despierta Belize. Get more value for your advertising dollar, reach a wider audience, and be part of Belize's most celebrated month. Contact us today at 670-9177 for more information.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Caribe in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Caribe, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Prime Minister John Briceño has ordered Police Commissioner Dr. Richard Rosado to proceed on a 45-day leave of absence effective immediately after reviewing what he described as an incomplete investigative report into the case of Joseph Budna. The report submitted last week by Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa was deemed unsatisfactory by the Prime Minister, who said the high public interest and serious allegations against the police department demanded stronger action. Deputy Commissioner Bart Jones has been appointed acting commissioner during Rosados' absence. While some had urged for an independent investigation, the Prime Minister has opted instead for a more in-depth internal police investigation. Deputy Commissioner Suzette Anderson has been tasked with leading that probe and is submitting a comprehensive report by the end of September. As part of the preliminary findings, Police Officer Barrington Flowers has been interdicted as of September 7th. Flowers, as it has been reported, was signaled as being part of the group of men who took part in Budna's kidnapping, an allegation which he outrightly denied. Now, while the exact circumstances of his involvement have not been released, it is believed his vehicle may have been used to perpetrate the kidnapping. At this time, the other men shown in the surveillance video have not been formally identified. Prime Minister Briceño said the temporary removal of Rosado was necessary to ensure the process remains free of influence. The rule of law and the reputation of the police department are of foremost consideration, he stated. The Ministry of Home Affairs has pledged to provide periodic updates as the investigation continues. Leader of the opposition, Honorable Tracy Panton, hosted a press conference this afternoon focusing squarely on the ongoing controversy surrounding the Joseph Budna case, which she described as a matter of national security. In her remarks, Panton expressed grave concern over the allegations made by Budna against the Belize Police Department, saying they strike at the heart of public trust in law enforcement. She warned that the credibility of the police is at risk if urgent steps are not taken. The opposition leader outlined 3 immediate actions that she believes are necessary in this matter. First, she called for the removal of Commissioner of Police Dr. Richard Rosado, stating that his leadership has been compromised by the handling of the matter. Second, she demanded the release of the footage showing Budna's alleged abduction. And third, she pressed for a thorough internal investigation to be launched without delay. Panton emphasized that these measures are critical to restoring public confidence and ensuring transparency.
We call on our civil society partners, the unions, the NGOs, the churches, our business community, the Belize Bar Association, who has not even whispered a concern on this matter, and all other interest groups to join your voices with ours and to demand 3 things. 1, the immediate release of all surveillance footage reportedly seized by the police. 2, an independent investigation into this abduction, and I mean strictly independent. And 3, removing from office the Commissioner of Police, putting him on a temporary 45 days leave does not go far enough. From the reports, it seems that this was carefully orchestrated. Budna sounded the alarm, but he was ignored by the very people, by the very entities whose job it was to protect him. The Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, the Director of National Security, and the SPU should be recused from this investigation to safeguard against any further public mistrust and to avoid any conflicts of interest or undue influence on this investigation.
The press conference comes on the heels of Prime Minister John Briceño's decision to place Commissioner Rosado on a 45-day leave of absence while appointing Deputy Commissioner Bart Jones as acting commissioner. The Prime Minister also confirmed the Deputy Commissioner Suzette Anderson will lead a more in-depth police investigation into the matter. The Belmopan Magistrates Court has denied bail to 21-year-old Christy Guzman, who has been formally charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of 28-year-old Wilson Hernandez. Guzman's attorney, Earl Hamilton, petitioned the court for bail, arguing that his client is young, has no prior convictions, and poses no flight risk. He suggested conditions including the surrender of travel documents, adherence to a nightly curfew, and routine check-ins with police. But the court rejected the application, pointing to Guzman's age, her limited ties to Belize, including the fact that she has no children, and the severity of the charge. The magistrate ruled that the potential sentence she faces could increase the likelihood of her attempting to leave the country. The charge arises from an incident which happened on August 31st in the J&W area of Belmopan, where Hernandez was shot and killed during a domestic dispute. Police say Hernandez was engaged in a heated confrontation with his common-law wife when she allegedly handed her licensed firearm to Guzman, her niece, who then pulled the trigger. Hernandez died instantly from a single gunshot wound. Guzman remains in custody as the case proceeds. It is expected that she will seek to apply for bail in the Supreme Court as the matter proceeds further. Early Saturday morning in Bella Vista Village, Toledo District, a violent home invasion resulted in the death of one man and the severe injuries to a woman. According to reports, shortly after 3 a.m., two unidentified suspects forced their way into the residence of Nikki Logan and her common-law partner, Nerjin Saron. The assailants reportedly opened fire upon the family during the intrusion, causing immediate death to Saron at the scene. Meanwhile, Logan, who was shielding her young child aged 1 year and 9 months, sustained multiple gunshot wounds. She was swiftly transported to the Southern Regional Hospital, where she remains in critical condition. According to ACP Gilberto Romero, authorities are actively investigating the incident and seeking one suspect who is from Bella Vista and known to police.
Investigation revealed that both were in a house at Bella Vista when a male person entered with a firearm and fired several shots towards him, causing the fatal injuries to Saron and the injuries to Logan. We are seeking one person from Bella Vista in regards to this murder investigation.
Was it a burglary attempt?
No other person entered the house, which was open, and he fired the shots.
So he was targeting them. Any reason?
The information we gathered that he had rivals with other persons in the village, and that is what led to this shooting.
Is it drug related?
We'll need to check whether it is drug related.
How was the mother injured?
Repeat?
How was the mother injured?
Oh, she received gunshot injuries. They were together in the house, and the person fired shots towards him.
Was she reported that she was trying to protect her child?
Yes, she had a child, and she protected the child, and she received several injuries.
And the child wasn't injured?
The child was not injured.
Nikki Logan is in a stable condition. Tragedy struck in the Toledo district on Saturday afternoon as a father and son drowned in the Cisco River approximately 6 miles from the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway. According to police reports, at around 4 p.m., 19-year-old Tracy Cal arrived at the riverbank with her father, 45-year-old Thomas Cal, along with her brothers, 17-year-old Elroy Cal and 15-year-old Leroy Cal. The family residents of Bella Vista Village had come to enjoy what was intended to be a recreational outing. The catastrophe unfolded approximately 36 minutes later. Elroy, who was not a swimmer, unexpectedly fell into the river and was quickly carried away by the powerful currents. In a desperate attempt to save his son, Thomas Cal leaped into the water. However, he was also unable to swim. Leroy, witnessing the danger, attempted to assist but was forced to retreat to the riverbank for safety. Rescue efforts by local villagers eventually recovered Elroy's lifeless body around 7:24 p.m. and shortly thereafter, Thomas Cal was pulled from the water at approximately 7:35 p.m.
Then on Saturday, police responded to a report of a drowning at the Suez River. Upon arrival, they learned that two persons had attempted to rescue a male person who was in the river. This person was successfully rescued. However, the other two persons were dragged by the currents and they did not resurface. They were identified as Thomas Cal and Elroy Cal. With help from the villagers, searches were done everywhere where their bodies were recovered. The bodies are presently awaiting a post-mortem examination.
Were there any safety warnings or concerns about swimming in that section of the river?
I do not know if there are any safety warnings. However, the river is deep and there are strong currents in that area.
At a press conference this afternoon, the opposition also turned attention to the mounting cost of living pressures facing Belizean. Area Representative for Mesopotamia, Honorable Lee Mark Chang, said families across the country are struggling to make ends meet, with many living day by day under financial strain. He stressed that the government must take decision action to bring relief. Chang pointed specifically to agriculture and poverty alleviation as two areas where serious change could yield real benefits.
Here's a couple of proposals for immediate and fast relief to the government. We not only criticize, we try to give recommendations so that they could do it and do it fast. Lower gas, butane, and utilities. Scaling back of unnecessary capital spendings, especially on unnecessary infrastructure projects, and redirect the funds to programs that help reduce household costs immediately. Open up the importation process to all qualified Belizeans to import goods. This will increase competition and reduce monopolies, lowering the cost of living across the board. This government has failed our farmers, and in doing so, they have failed every family that struggles to put food on the table. We will not be silent while our people suffer. We will not accept excuses while our families are abandoned. We will not rest until food and basic necessities is affordable for our families and our farmers receive the full support they need. The choice is clear. Support our farmers and control market manipulation, or continue to watch our people suffer and suffer and suffer with the constant inflation rise. Provide immediate fuel, fertilizer, and seed subsidies for agricultural production and the food transportation to reduce costs.
Coming up next, arson in Chinook. Police are looking for one suspect. Stay tuned.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
Curacao police are tonight looking for one man who is being accused of arson. The incident played out in the village of Shunosh on Saturday during a domestic dispute between Enesita Tun and her common-law husband Manuel Chacon. Here is what police know so far.
Upon arrival, a female, Enesita Tun, reported that she was having a domestic dispute with her common-law husband Manuel Chacon, who attempted to damage her vehicle. When the police arrived, Chacon entered the house where he barricaded himself, and thereafter the house was engulfed in flames. Fire personnel came and dealt with the report. They made searches, and no one was found inside the house, and the house was damaged. Thereafter, on Saturday, Edward Rudolph reported that he was at home when Manuel Chacon entered his house without his permission and chopped him with a machete, causing injuries to him. Thereafter, Chacon stole his maroon vehicle and made off with it, along with cash and cell phones, along with other electronic items. We are presently seeking Manuel Chacon in regards to this report, but so far he has not been found.
How are these two men related?
They are not related. Chacon entered the house to steal the vehicle and the items.
We understand that this afternoon the stolen vehicle was found in Orange Walk. However, Chacon remains on the lam. The opposition today also spoke out following the tragic death of 2-year-old Khalil Na in San Pedro last week, calling the incident preventable and demanding urgent improvements in healthcare services on the island. Baby Khalil was, as we had previously reported, fell ill and was taken for medical attention, but according to accounts, his condition worsened and he later passed away while on his way to KHMH in Belize City. His death has since raised questions about the adequacy of emergency medical care available to residents and visitors in San Pedro. Senator Sheena Pitts, addressing the matter on behalf of the opposition, described the child's death as heartbreaking and unacceptable. She said the case highlights serious gaps in the delivery of healthcare services in one of the country's busiest tourism destinations.
There is no reason why Khalil Zaxton should have died in San Pedro. We hear now that it is as a result of dehydration. The fact that he died is unacceptable. Not only the government is responsible, but also every medical professional who was there that night. Did we not hear from the government their commitment to health? This $50 million for NHI?
The opposition today also weighed in on the government's recent renegotiation of the Plenillium Challenge Corporation (MCC) grant with the United States. While welcoming the grant as a positive step for Belize, Opposition Senator Patrick Faber is pressing for greater transparency on the terms of the deal. Faber said that while the grant promises important benefits for the Belizean people, the public deserves to know the details of the renegotiations. He warned that concessions may be attached, including the possibility of Belize signing on as a safe third country for the United States, an agreement that could carry a far-reaching implications for migration policy.
And so I challenge the government this afternoon to be open and to be transparent with us and to tell us, give us the details. You renegotiated the MCC contract. What are the details? Because from where we sit, in the opposition, we see two factors playing out that are not in the best interest of Belize. We are told, and my friend, the deputy leader of the party, the second deputy leader of the party, when she was Minister of Immigration, can give you the details as to how Belize has been pressured over time to become a safe country or a third safe country over the years. And in fact, the UDP administration resisted. What they're asking Belize to do is to accept people from other parts of Central America who can't make it to the United States. And we have got to ask the question, who is it that you're asking us to take? How is it that we are going to provide for these people?
His comments come shortly after Prime Minister John Briceño addressed the issue on Friday, confirming that discussions are ongoing with the U.S. The Prime Minister acknowledged that Belize could be asked to serve as a safe third country, but stressed that if such an arrangement is accepted, it will be under strict conditions designed to protect Belize's national interest. For context, we replay the comments of the PM on Friday.
We're working on it. We have had discussions. We brought it to Cabinet, and the Cabinet has given the green light to continue the negotiations. But basically, what we will do, should we get to that point, and we are in negotiations with the U.S. government, or with the U.S. government, is that we are going to determine what countries or what region we want to, that would be allowed to come, the people to be able to come. We will determine how much we will allow people to come into Belize. It's not going to be open. We're going to say we want 100 or 10 or 50. We're working on that number. I could assure you it's not going to be a large number. And thirdly, we want to ensure that whenever that happens, then that the funding would be sent over to be able to allow these people to be able to settle into Belize whilst that their case goes through the U.S. courts.
Since the start of September, Belizeans applying for a passport no longer need to find a recommender, a requirement that had long been criticized as burdensome and unnecessary. The change was confirmed by government earlier this month, describing it as a long overdue step towards modernizing the passport system and making government services more accessible. The change, according to Prime Minister John Briceño, will ensure a faster, smoother process, as since the old way oftentimes slowed down the process for ordinary Belizeans who struggle to find someone qualified to vouch for them.
As a citizen of this country, you have a right to get a passport. You have your birth certificate and you have all of the necessary. Nobody needs to recommend you to get a passport. And then what has happened after that? You have a lot of JPs standing over by the passport office, and you come from Orange Rock and they say, oops, I need to sign. I don't know nobody. And they go out there and say, hey, I had a JP, I'll sign it, and they charge you a fee, what you should do. It is unnecessary. There are certain things that we have to move from immigration. For instance, when people apply for a permanent residency or they apply for a nationality, they can't leave the country for more than a year. Those are things that were put in place 50, 60, maybe 100 years ago. Today, people have to travel. Once you can show that you're living in Belize and you may need to go to business in the United States or Mexico or wherever it is, you should be allowed to. Or if you go to visit a family that's sick or whatever, that should not prevent you from getting your PR or your nationality. So we have to be modernizing these laws in immigration, and to make it more transparent and easier for those that are applying and those that need the services from the Immigration Department.
Officials emphasize that while the recommender has been removed, the security features and verification procedures remain in place to protect the integrity of Belize's passports. As of the end of week 36 in 2025, Belize has documented a total of 527 confirmed instances of new world screwworm infestations, according to official statistics. The majority of these cases are concentrated in the southern Toledo district, which alone accounts for 264 cases. The Cayo district follows with 173 cases, while other regions report significantly fewer infections. Orange Walk with 31, Sand Creek with 30, Belize District with 22, and Curacao with 7. The outbreak has predominantly affected animals, with dogs bearing the brunt, over half of all cases, totaling 268. Livestock such as cattle are also heavily impacted, with 121 cases reported. Other affected species include pigs 60, horses 36, and sheep 26. Wildlife, including howler monkeys, has not been spared from the infestation. Although rare, some human cases have also been identified. Health and agricultural officials are calling on pet owners, farmers, and rural communities to vigilantly observe their animals for symptoms of infestation and to seek prompt medical or veterinary attention. The Ministry of Agriculture, along with the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, continues to spearhead efforts to monitor, control, and prevent the further spread of this parasitic threat. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
The highly anticipated Belize Investment Summit 2025 concluded on September 5th, 2025, with unprecedented success, solidifying Belize's position as a premier destination for strategic and sustainable investment in the region. Held under the theme Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, the nexus of CARICOM, Central America and Mexico is a new global era. The summit attracted over 600 prominent international investors, business leaders, government officials, and local entrepreneurs. The three-day event, hosted at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro and Burgess Key, served as a dynamic platform to showcase a curated portfolio of high-impacted investment opportunities across Belize's key growth sectors. These included sustainable tourism and hospitality, agro-processing, renewable energy, digital innovation and fintech, infrastructure, logistics, aviation, and the burgeoning blue economy, among emerging sectors. The summit facilitated hundreds of one-to-one meetings between project proponents and investors, with a landmark Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) for the first ever sugar refinery in Belize signed on site, and a presentation on the master plan for the Port of Belize cruise and cargo project. Preliminary estimates indicate investment commitments exceeding $1.5 billion across various sectors, which are projected to generate significant employment opportunities for Belizeans. Key highlights of the summit included in-depth sectoral presentations, detailed breakdowns of investment opportunities, supported by robust data and clear regulatory frameworks, project pitch sessions, policy reform dialogues, and focus on sustainability. The Belize Investment Summit 2025 was organized by the Government of Belize through the Office of the Prime Minister, Belize Trade and Investment Development Service, Beltrade, in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, other development parties, international financial institutions, and with great support from the private sector. The Protected Areas Conservation Trust Pact has announced an infusion of $3.2 million in new grants aimed at enhancing climate resilience across Belize. This funding expansion supports its flagship initiative, the Building Community Resilience via Transformative Adaptation Project, EDA project, targeting vital natural resources, disaster risk reduction, and emergency preparedness. Over the next 5 years, these initiatives are projected to benefit more than 48,000 residents in 15 different communities throughout the country. The new investments will facilitate 4 targeted sub-projects, each designed to bolster specific aspects of climate adaptation and disaster management. The first project intends to preserve water and the forest resources within the Makal and Mopan River watersheds. Led by the National Biodiversity Office in collaboration with the Forest Department, this initiative will receive $1.59 million over a 3-year period. Community participation will be central to its success. The second sub-project aims to enhance the capacity of the Ladyville Fire Station to respond effectively to climate-induced emergencies. In partnership with the Ladyville Village Council, this project will allocate $492,653 Belize dollars over 2 years to develop a more resilient emergency response infrastructure. The third initiative focuses on fire management to improve resilience in central Belize communities. Managed by the Belize Zoo and Tropical Education Center, it will be funded with $448,505 Belize dollars over 30 months, emphasizing proactive fire prevention strategies. The fourth project targets flood mitigation efforts in Orange Walk and Toledo districts. Led by the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor, and Local Government, this project will receive $738,537 Belize dollars over 18 months to implement effective flood disaster management solutions. These new projects complement 4 earlier sub-projects initiated in February 2025, currently underway with the involvement of the Belmopan City Council, Sarteneja Village Council, Belize Forest Department, and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and Beltrade. Collectively, these 8 initiatives constitute an investment of 10 million Belize dollars dedicated to strengthening Belize's resilience against climate change. The projects focus on key areas including forest and water conservation, wildlife management, alternative livelihoods, capacity building for climate finance access, and disaster risk reduction at the community level. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, September 9th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at CTV3BelizeNews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at Facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.